Chapter 13. A soft knock at the door made Sirius pause in the middle of unbuttoning his shirt. He exchanged a quizzical look with Remus, who had taken a seat on the bed to watch his boyfriend strip.
"Are you dressed?"
they heard Harry's cautious voice. Grinning, Sirius called back,
"Mostly dressed. Come in."
The dark-haired boy stepped into the room and relaxed visibly upon seeing them still partly clothed. With a grin, Sirius thought back to Andromeda's lecture about decency with kids in the house. Granted, it had been nothing compared to the lecture Molly Weasley had given him and Remus after accidentally walking in on them shagging in the bathroom. Moony had been rather sheepish, but Sirius had decided to ignore both women. It wasn't like Harry and the others were little children. They were 16 for Merlin's sake. Andromeda at least should know what he'd gotten up to at that age, and she hadn't been exactly shy either at 16.
"What brings you here this late, Prongslet?"
he asked, turning his full attention onto his godson. Harry fidgeted a little, a clear sign that he was embarrassed about something.
"Can I ask a personal question?"
he muttered finally. The two men exchanged a quick look. Sirius sat down on the bed and patted the space between himself and Remus.
"You can ask us anything."
Harry hesitated a little, but finally sat down.
"When did you find out you fancied each other?"
The animagus grinned, realizing what this visit was about. Moony, however, beat him to the answer. "Well, looking back now, I think I've always been in love with Sirius, or at least attracted to him. It only took me a while to realize it. I think I really knew it in 5th year. They had told me about the animagus transformation, and James said it had all been Padfoot's idea. Knowing he had gone to such lengths for me, I wanted to snog him right then and there, but of course I didn't."
"I've got to admit I was a little slower," Sirius chimed in.
"That's because he had all the girls fawning over him," Remus interjected with a grin.
"So you've been with girls before?" Harry asked curiously. "I had a few girlfriends, yes. I never believed in that whole concept of categories when it came to love. I'm attracted to a person, not a gender," the animagus let him know. "And to answer your first question, I noticed it at the start of 7th year. I saw a girl in our year hitting on Moony and I got insanely jealous. Naturally, I ran into James about it, who finally made me see sense. It took a few more days and a kick in the butt from your dad to work up the courage to just go over and snog Moony senseless. But in the end I did, and well, you know the rest."
The two men gave Harry some time to process the information. When he remained quiet, Sirius prodded.
"Anything else you want to talk about? You know you can tell us anything."
The boy hesitated a little before meeting his eyes.
"I think I'm attracted to a boy," he whispered.
When his godfather motioned for him to continue, he admitted,
"I really don't know what to do." "Well, my advice would be to tell him, or to just go over and snog him. Worked for me and Moony."
Sirius chuckled when Remus punched him in the arm for that comment, and even Harry managed to smile.
"But what if he doesn't think of me that way? I don't want to ruin our friendship," he asked then.
This time it was Remus who answered. "That's a risk you'll have to take. If he's really your friend, it won't change anything, even if he doesn't feel the same." The boy didn't look happy with that answer, so he added, "Back in 6th year, one of our friends had a major crush on your dad, but James only ever had eyes for your mom, and he told him so. Still, they remained friends." The werewolf was cautious not to mention a name, and all too aware of the dark look Sirius gave him. But his words had the desired effect, and Harry perked up a little.
"I'm just not good with all that feeling stuff. I mean, I only dated Cho so far, and you know how that turned out."
Remus nodded solemnly and gave his boyfriend a warning look. Harry had told them all about his disastrous Valentine's Day at Madame Puttyfoot's, and Sirius had spent 10 minutes laughing his ass off, much to Harry's annoyance. "Don't let that get you down, Harry. That thing with Cho wasn't your fault. She was a special case," the werewolf muttered.
Sirius put it more bluntly. "Yeah, nutcase. But don't worry. Boys are a lot less likely to start sobbing and cause a scene in public."
That seemed to cheer Harry quite a bit.
"Okay, I think I'll go back to bed now. Thanks for the advice."
Both men hugged him quickly and assured him that they would always be there when he needed them.
"You think it was a good idea to tell him about the rat's crush on James? We know how that turned out,"
Sirius muttered once Harry had left. "We don't know if that was his incentive for betraying James and Lily, and I didn't tell him who the friend was. I just thought it would put him at ease. And Draco isn't Peter." Remus didn't miss how his boyfriend flinched at the name. Peter's betrayal still hurt both of them, but the werewolf felt that ignoring it wouldn't make it better. He was still glad when Sirius decided to change the subject.
Do you think I should have another talk with Harry about lubrication spells and stuff like that?
Remus shook his head with a snort. Please don't. You mortified him enough the first time around. There was really no need for you to go into such detail, you know.
I only wanted him to be prepared, and I don't think Draco knows much of anything. Or can you imagine Lucius teaching him about lubrication spells and sexual techniques?
Remus didn't even want to imagine that, thank you very much. He really didn't need that visual. They aren't nearly that far yet, Badfoot. Another talk like that will only make Harry nervous, and I'm sure he'll come to you if you ask questions. So please, let the matter rest for now.
The animagus huffed. Fine. I'll write a manual then, and I'll tell him to come to me if he has questions.
Knowing that was the best he was going to get, Remus insisted. Please don't add pictures. He didn't like the way Sirius grinned at that.